The bravery of those young soldiers, the unsung heroes, that is the true legacy of Operation Cactus.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of NISSMAT, I welcome everyone to today's podcast, a book review on a book called Operation Cactus Recalled. Today's episode is very special, one that is both a deep dive into military history and a personal honor for me. We are going to be discussing Operation Cactus, the 1988 Indian military intervention in the Maldives. It is an operation often celebrated as a swift, clean success that served a neighboring nation's needs. Op Cactus was a masterclass in strategic speed and in the tri-services coordination. 36 years after the operation, a definitive critical account has been written by a man who was right there. I am deeply privileged to welcome my guest today, the author of the book Operation Cactus Recalled, Colonel Kochappan Thomas.
Jai Hind, sir.
Colonel Thomas, the author of the book, was the commanding officer of 7th Battalion, the Parachute Regiment, which was the second wave of the strike force into Maldives. This conversation is particularly meaningful to me as I had the distinct honor of serving under then Lieutenant Colonel Thomas for 11 years before I left the army. So your book is a compelling, no-holds-barred analysis. You write about having a sense of remorse for 36 years for not speaking out about the operation in which 7 Para took part. It's a courageous opening and it sets the stage for our discussion today, where we will cover the operation from its planning to the incredible bravery of the men on the ground and the operation's true legacy. Colonel Thomas, sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I will begin by asking you, what took you so long in deciding that you must write this book?
Pawan, first of all, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to voice my views on Operation Cactus. And it's a great honor for me to be interviewed by a person like you. Before I answer any of your questions, if you may permit me, it is necessary to make an assertion. May I?
Sure, sir. Why not? Sure, please.
It is for those officers in our military fraternity who have certain points of contention with my views regarding the operation planning and execution. I must clarify that to them that in this particular book, there's nothing, just nothing of mine, except the 7 Para operations in 7 Para's action in Operation Cactus. Rest everything you've taken from the article, the podcast, the interview, the books of officers who have taken part in Operation Cactus. It's all taken from them. Like General V.N. Sharma, he was the Chief of Army Staff then. From his article, I have taken a lot of detail. General V.P. Malik, he was the DDGMO then. Brigadier F.C. Bulsara, he was the Para-Brigade Commander then. General Vinod Bhatia, retired. He was the BMO Para-Brigade. I have taken a lot of things from his article. Lieutenant General N.K.S. Guy of 3 Para, later he commanded my battalion, 7 Para 2. He was a major commanding 3 Para company, which was under 6 Para. Then Major K. Babaya of 411 Sappers. He was commanding a field platoon of 411 Sappers during Operation Cactus. Then comes to Brigadier S.V. Joshi. He was the commanding officer of 6 Para Group. Then his officer, the hero of Maldives, then Major R.J. Dillon, now Brigadier Dillon retired. Then comes to Group Captain A.G. Bow, the Air Force officer who took us to Mali. He was the leader of that IL, that 1 or 2 aircrafts which took us to Mali. He has written a very candid, he has expressed very candidly in his article. Then there was another officer, an IAS officer, now he's retired Group Captain A.K. Chaudhary. He has also written an article. Finally, I have taken a lot of details from Dr. Gobind Sultana, an associated fellow at the Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis, New Delhi. And most of these officers have criticized decisively the plan made and the way it was executed during Operation Pawan, Operation Cactus. And it is already known to the rest of the world. So I have just chronicled their views in a consolidated and sequential manner in my book. There's nothing of mine. And I must also say that Brigadier Bulsara, the commander who took us to commander who commanded the strike force, in his article, Happy Odyssey, he said that, look, I have committed blunders. I seek forgiveness from my men whom I commanded. I seek forgiveness from the maroon berets and then maroon turbans whom I commanded. Like, amazing. It is, he revealed his professional integrity and probity. And of course, it had given a credibility to my candid scrutiny, which I have made in my Operation Cactus. Pawan, I mean no personal incivility, neither I mean any general negativity. It is the deep-seated feeling of a commanding officer of a battalion who was put through the mill with his men during Operation Cactus. Now, answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you so much for the preamble, sir. Thank you so much for this preamble to whatever you're going to be saying. You know, it's a great feeling for an author when he's been a part of an operation to write this. And, you know, I'm sure that whatever you're going to be speaking is absolutely from your heart. And, you know, my question was, why did it take you 36 years to write this book?
Precisely. See, immediately after my command, after the Operation Cactus, I was posted to Sri Lanka. There, the situation was so volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We didn't have the time to even breathe. Indian Army went there for something and did something else. It was quite a nasty tenure for me, and I didn't have the time to think of Operation Cactus at all. We are fully involved with our Pawan. Then I was posted to many places, and the last posting was to Andaman and Nicobar Island. There too, typical of me, I got unnecessarily perturbed within a so-called fragmented command of the Andaman and Nicobar Island. Recently, only we got to know that integrated command for Andaman and Nicobar Island. These are all the things I have fully committed with my some of this unit tenure. So I didn't have the time to think of Cactus. After retirement, I was trying to find myself my own grid reference in the societal map. It took time for me. Lastly, I was not introduced to this digital technology. Only recently I got a laptop and all the things. You know, it is very necessary for to be aware of, you know, that well tuned up for the digital technology to write a book like that. So that is why it took 36 years for me to write this book. And then there is the reason for it, for me to write it. It was the cause for the delay, but there was definitely a reason for it. Firstly, my 7 para officers, both serving and retired, I was surprised that they don't have any clue about Operation Cactus. They don't know that their battalion was a part of that strike force which went to Maldives in its second wave. And it was the successful overseas airborne operation carried out by our nation. Whole world was celebrating it. And unfortunately, they don't have any clue. It is not their fault. Perhaps, you know, that the world media and the Indian media, they subdued all these things, except 6 para and 17 para, this thing, they're glorifying it. They didn't mention anything about the rest of the battalion, the rest of the unit. So they were not aware of it, and none of any records maintained in any units or brigade headquarters and all that thing. Didn't have other units like 7 paras commitment and all, it's in Operation Cactus. So it is not their fault. And I wanted to make them know that is the perilous plan which was made during Operation Cactus. Why I wanted the 7-bar young officers to know? Because they are the future planners of the Indian Army. So it was a perilous plan. And secondly, the asymmetrical use of forces which was sort of utilized then. Exaggerated sort of comparison with the airborne operations of Estoria, like unnecessarily use of even artillery guns in Maldives and all that thing. So that it's all asymmetrical force, all these things. Like this are unnecessarily sort of that burden to the government exchequer. So I wanted my officers of 7 Para and the rest of the military fraternity know all the details. That's why the reason for me to write it, and that was the delay for writing this book after 36 years. Over to you, sir.
So in your book, you make a very important point that the military was given the freedom to plan and execute without any political meddling. But isn't it true for all operations? Why do you mention this, that this was special? I think for any operation, for any military operation to be successful, you require something that there is no political interference in what you're doing. Why is it so special to your Operation Cactus?
Praveen, I must say that unlike the political meddling in Indian War of 1962, the subsequent operation carried out by the Indian military enjoyed a perfect blend of politico-military symbiosis. During Operation Cactus, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, he gave full freedom to General V.N. Sharma to execute the way he like to do. So there was absolutely a perfect blend of politico-military sort of symbiosis. We did have a robust politico-military symbiosis which is necessary for the nation's security, the political stability, and the good governance. Op Cactus really demonstrated an ideal fusion of military unity and the politics. Yes.
In your book, you also mentioned that General V.N. Sharma stated in an article that India did not have a quick reaction army units. You sort of disagree with that. Can you give us some insights into why you say this, and what did the general at that time mean by saying that the army had no quick reaction units?
Yes, sir. I didn't mean to anything against my then chief of army staff. I will narrate that. The following aspects made me to believe that the nation had the required wherewithal and the politico-military will. I will just elucidate that. Well, I must say that it is true, generally it's true, that we didn't have a standing quick reaction force at that particular time. Yes, but then we had troops like 1 Para Commando, 10 Para Commando, 9 Para Commando. They are the troops which were trained for such, the quick move to anywhere to the region. They were specially trained for special missions like that. We had the wherewithal, Indian Army, and then we had the Indian Navy. Their Marcos, for example, the most lethal special forces in the world, I must say that, they had the capability even to skydiving and parachuting into the open sea, capable of undertaking missions like that. So we had the required troops, though we didn't have a standing QRF. The Indian Navy had the aircraft carrier-based strike capability. They had the fleet of air defense. They had the maritime recognizance ability. The Air Force had the ability to lift troops to anywhere, to any part of the world. And they had the ability to strike and dominate the sky. They had the photo reconnaissance ability. We could have utilized them to get some photograph of Maldives on the third morning instead of planning on that various other novel paper, all the thing, we could have utilized them. So these aspects made me to believe that nation didn't lack any defense finances, and it did have the required wherewithal on 3rd November 1988. Now, coming to the next point, the political military will, well, nation always had that. For example, the Operation Polo in 1948 to annex Hyderabad, the nation decided that. The Operation Vijay in 1967 to liberate Goa. Then Operation Cactus Lily in Bangladesh, we just divided Pakistan into two. And Operation Laldora to support the government of Mauritius against the support of some sort of feared coup in 1983. Operation Meghdood in Siachen Glacier in 1984. Operation Flowers Are Booming against the attempted coup in Seychelles in 1986. Operation Pawan in 87. Pawan, I must say that. And these operations are all, it is not evidence is enough to say that the nation had the will. The political military will was there with us. So I'm sorry, I didn't agree with my chief on this aspect. Over to you.
Sir, I think we all had the incredible fortune to have served with Brigadier Bulsara. He was an incredible soldier. And in your book, you also describe his style of functioning as one of the most incredible ways of a soldier. Can you describe something about Brigadier Bulsara's style of leadership that inspired you and the men under him?
Fantastic officer. We miss him. May God Almighty bless his soul. During the planning stage of Operation Cactus, all those past experiences, the age-old, time-tested, periodically updated military procedural mapping, it was all set aside. For, well, especially for Brigadier Bull, it was my way or the highway when he was made the final plan. He stood firm on his stand when he spoke to the Vice Chief of Army Staff from the officer room of 41st Squad in Agra. Its stand was just non-negotiable. It was, I think, say, laissez-faire approach in decision-making. And about Brigadier Bull in particular, he was an amazing and energetic leader, a hardcore Maroon Beret. And he was always at the forefront of his command. He was always seen before he was heard. I'll just give you one or two examples. Some way back in 87, I think, 7-para-1 company was sent to Leh. So I said that go there, fine enough, I sent my company, have the proper acclimatization, recce the desert, so that there are a lot of, that four-legged rabbit-like animal there, they're called marmots. They make a city underground. So any paratrooper landing on top with that speed and then this thing, and you just get inside and break his leg. I thought have a proper recce and then go and all this. Next day, when they reached Leh, next day I also went there. And to my horror, I found Brigadier Bull was there. And he was ready to jump with my men on that day. I said, sir, kindly don't do that. But then he said that, no, Tommy, if you're coming, you come with me. I said, no, I'm not coming with you. But then he was with my men, he jumped and he broke his own ankle. And the 32 of my men, they also broke their leg. Brigadier Bull was that. In Maldives also, before we could reach that island, Tulsudu Island, I was with my column, which went to island for a search and cordon operation. I was there with them, not to interfere in any of their operation. But then I was quite used to the blue waters. Some of my men were not comfortable. That's why I accompanied them. Before I could reach with my men there, Bull was already there in Tulsudu Island. So he was the man who was always in front. He was a military leader with a profound professional integrity and probity. I said that. We must say, may God bless his soul. Mind you, he's not the only one. In our own army, we had Sam Manekshaw. He was the captain in Burma campaign, and he had, I think, a tummy full of all bullets in his tummy, and still he was in the forefront. We had a Brigadier Usman of ours for Para. He was the Para Brigade commander, 50 Para Brigade commander in Bulsara. He was in the forefront. He got killed. Colonel Ian Cardozo, a good officer in Bangladesh, just chopped off his one leg, and then he was with his men in front. In our own battalion, we had Colonel R.P. Singh, late Colonel R.P. Singh, Ramdas, late Colonel Ramdas, Captain, Lieutenant Bharat, but we lost them in Bangladesh operation. They're all in the forefront. So history is repeated with such heroes, and Brigadier Bull was one of them.
You've been very appreciative of the Indian Air Force in your book. Especially, you mentioned Group Captain Baboor, who was the pilot for the IL-76, which flew you from Agra to the Maldives. And you also mentioned that he landed his aircraft on the in Malé, almost in darkness. Can you just describe your feelings at that time, and why did you think that the Group Captain Baboor was an excellent pilot?
Pawan, it was indeed a dare dive to uncertainty by Group Captain Baboor and Wing Commander Gill. It was one of the most audacious air transport operations worth cherishing for years to come. Taking off from Agra at 1804 hours on 3rd November, Group Captain Baboor was in the first IL aircraft with the Brigadier Bulsara and then 6 Para group. It was a flight of 3,707 kilometers at the altitude of 37,000 feet. And it took about just 3 hours and 44 minutes from wheels up to touchdown, and that too avoiding knockage. Knockage is the waypoints en route where an aircraft reports. It was because of security reasons they didn't report any of this knockage. Group Captain Baboor and Wing Commander Gill, they believed in themselves and their flying machines. It is just within 15 hours of the Maldivian presidential office requested the PMO's office, within 15 hours of the telephone call, the troops were there in Maldives. They delivered about 398 maroon berets, MSA, so-called reported 200 odd heavily armed mercenaries. A fantastic job done by Group Captain Baboor. Now, about 30 kilometers away from the Hulule Island. Before reaching the island, Group Captain Baboor asked Brigadier Bull, "Sir, shall we drop 60 paratroopers or shall we land?" Thank God, Brigadier Bull took the decision to land. That is his own fantastic decision he has taken. Nation is very proud of it. Otherwise, it would have been the biggest national tragedy. So when he got the clearance, Group Captain Baboor, he contacted the ATC through. We had a mole there. Thank God we had. And the ATC was contacted. The code word was passed, and then we requested for about just for about 10 seconds that what do you call that runway to be lit. The runway was lit, and about 25 kilometers before reaching the Hulula Island, Group Captain Baboor steadied his aircraft. The computer coupled. It guided the aircraft, touched down. After 10 seconds, the light went off. The pitch dark, it touched down, moved forward within that 1,700 meter runway, just short of 30 meters, the aircraft stopped. It's a fantastic job done by him. Marvelous. And the first IL aircraft, first aircraft, the people, Brigadier Bulsara and his brigade tactical quarter, 6 Para group, the first group of the strike force, they downloaded. The second aircraft landed subsequently of Wing Commander Gill. He said that, that in front of his aircraft, the 6-para men, they were crisscrossing like, the chase gazelles in the desert night. We have all seen that animal, how they cross. So it was something so dangerously, but they enjoyed it. So they landed. The Air Force did touch the sky with glory in a true sense. It was an act of extraordinary courage and unparalleled achievement, I must say that. The nation salute the Indian Air Force for the Air Force giving the nation the record wing. That was important.
So your book, in the preamble of your book, you describe this amazing job done by 6-para in the first flight. And you also talk of then Major Dillon and his men who landed into Mali at that time. And they advanced into the hostile capital, located the president, and secured him, all in just a matter of a few hours. Could you describe what you felt at that time?
Yes, it is in my mind very clear that though I was just an off-scene onlooker, but then I heard about it from horse's mouth, like now Brigadier Dillon. At the 0030 hours on 4th November morning, the first trial with Brigadier Bulsara with the attack at quarter, including Major Vinod Bhatia, the BM, the assault group of 6-para with Colonel S.B. Joshi, comprising about 180 troops, of Major Dillon and Major Umed Singh's company. They touched down, and men of C and D company dashed out to the aircraft, and Major Dillon and a couple of his men went to the ATC. They had a great problem to sort out that major, the NSS major there in ATC. They got the ATC under control. Then comes Major Babaya of 411. He also went to the nearest shoreline. They seized about 12 boats, and local boatsmen, they were scared of them. But then 411 parafield engineers had their own men. So the first group of Major Dillon's men were taken to Maldives by Babaya's men in these boats. The second, before good to move, the second wave of boats, Major N.K.'s guy of 3-para company with Major Umed Singh with his troop, they occupied the western shore of the island, where they found a suspected sort of move of a freighter, a vessel. So they said that there's something suspicious about it. So Brigadier Bulsara was there at the spot. He gave them order to take a pot shot, and they fired with a 84 MMRL, and I think the ship went limping. Major Dillon, with the help of the NSS guide there in Maldives, after landing, they tried to get into the NSS headquarters. They got in and then went into Mr. Gayoom's house. Not his house, actually he was hiding in a two-room quarters of servant. They went there, met him. Gayoom was with his daughter and his wife. He said that, sir, you have saved. And immediately after that, Brigadier Bull and Colonel S.V. Joshi landed up there. They met Gayoom. Gayoom thanked them. And then Major Dillon made a call to Delhi, the Prime Minister's office, so that Gayoom could speak to Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. It was a very interesting thing. Major Dillon spoke to Delhi and said that, look, Major Dillon speaking from Maldives. Prime Minister, the President of Maldives, Mr. Gayoom, would like to speak to Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. From the other side, the reply came, yes, Rajiv here, please. So Major Dillon said that, look, I'm Major Dillon. I want to speak to the Prime Minister. So he said that, Major Dillon, I am Prime Minister. And said, Rajiv speaking. So, so then he was made to speak to the President of Maldives. So it was that was quite a fantastic job done by Sispara and then Tripara Guptan 411. They finally saved the president. Yes.
In your book, you acknowledge the element of luck. You also mention the valor in every action, rapidity in each movement. From your command perspective, how did the paratroopers' high standard of training and adaptability turn your plan into 100% success?
Pawan, it was sheer luck. Just sheer luck. Mr. Ronaldson, the Joint Secretary at the PMO's office at 8:15 on 3rd November, he spoke to the Chief of Army Staff and said that there are about 100 to 200 Sri Lankan terrorists in the Maldives. They are well armed with AK-47, hand grenades, mortars, and shoulder-fired missiles, etc., etc. It was a perilous plan to do an airborne assault. Thinking of doing an airborne assault with 130 paratroopers on just a 200 by 200 area of football field in the heart of Mali, which is the capital city of Maldives, which is inhabited by about 80,000 residents. Just 2 kilometers square area. We are planning a paradrop of 130 paratroopers. I couldn't even imagine that, how one could think of such thing. And then they planned of another alternative plan was about 60 paratroopers will be dropped on Hulil Island, which is about 2 kilometers south of Mali. Mind you, both these islands were under the control, had been under the control of the so-called mercenaries. They could have been shot up in the air itself while descending. The wind speed of Maldives and then Hulil Island is about 15 to 20 kilometers, the tropical wind speed. It would have taken all the paratroopers who come from 3,000 feet high, could have been taken away to the middle of the sea. They all could have been drowned. So it was a very perilous sort of the plan which was made. This was objected by, or rather, Brigadier Sapatnekar, who was predecessor to Brigadier Bull, during the briefing there in the Army headquarters by Chief of Army Staff, the Prime Minister. Brigadier Sapatnekar said that kindly don't do this paradropping. You establish a foothold of Hulule with some sort of coup de main operation. Then you do the paraland, or what you call that, the landing of the troops. So it was absolutely a perilous plan. Thank God, Brigadier Bull took the decision to land instead of paradrop. And finally, he said that in his own article that I faced my movement of troops at about 20 or 25 hours over the Indian Ocean. And now I can justifiably say that I made the right choice. Thank God he made the right choice. Yes.
Wonderful, sir. In your book, you also mentioned that 7th Para, our battalion, was deep in specialized jungle training when the call for Maldives came. This new mission was, as you pointed out, not related to the requirements of the training that you were all undergoing at that time. And how did our unit, 7th Para, mentally pivot from being trained in jungle warfare to pivoting to operation in Maldives?
Pawan, for the men of 7th Para, why 7th Para? For the men of the parachute regiment, I must say that we had the required mental and physical flexibility to shift swiftly from one operational scene to another operational scene, or from one theater to another theater. It was not a problem for us. And for example, for my battalion, our battalion, 7th Para, was hurriedly airlifted in 1971 from Agra to West Bengal to sort out the Naxalites. Before we could finish off the job there, we were moved to Rampurhat for training the Mukti Bahani. We were moved again. And from Bharatpur, From the Rampurhat, again we moved to Barakpur on 6th December to join the Bangladesh operation. And we crossed, on 7th December, we crossed Bayora. And then we were in Sri Lanka, we were in Bangladesh fighting against the Pakis. And there we lost our CEO and then two more officers. It's so unfortunate. And on 8th of December, we are airlifted to Bathinda to face the Pakis there on the western side. So this sort of frequent move is nothing new to us. We are quite mentally and then physically, we are so flexible on that aspect of it. There's nothing new about it.
7 Para was the second wave of the strike force into Maldives, and it was tasked with securing the Hule Hule airfield and conducting the Thulsudu sweep. Why was the stabilization role, which led to the capture of 9 mercenaries, so vital for ensuring the coup was truly over and the victory was permanent?
Pawan, the subsequent combing operation by company of 3 Para and 6 Para on 4th, 5th November in capital city Mali, and 7 Para on from 4th, or rather on 5th, we went to Tulsudu Island. We ran the combing operation there. It was absolutely essential to wipe out the rebels completely, so that that a second reoccur of such coup doesn't take place immediately. On 5th November, 2 columns of 7 Para in a couple of country boats. We sailed 26-kilometer away to reach Tulsudu Island, carried out the coordinate search operation, apprehended about 9 mercenaries with a weapon. Once everything was over, I spoke to the islanders. They all got together in the jetty. I spoke to them that we are not an occupational force. We just came to your island to help you out. Your president invited us. That's why we are here. Once our job is over, friends, we are off. So we are here on the request of your president. We did well there. We treated them with the dignity, both the captured mercenaries and then the villagers. They were not harassed or anything. And for this excellent performance, Captain Kapoor of 7 Para and then Subedar Ram Singh of 7 Para got Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card and then Sena Medal respectively. It was a good job done, and combing operation was necessary there.
Now, stepping into the Indian Navy, the Indian Navy also did a commendable job in intercepting the freighter MV Progress Light, which was fleeing with some mercenaries on board. Your book says that they did a commendable job. How crucial was the naval action in capturing the remaining mercenaries and drawing the final curtain on Operation Cactus?
Pawan, there was a freighter hijacked by a group of 47 mercenaries. They were fleeing from Maldives towards Sri Lanka with the 27 Maldivian hostages on board, which included the Maldivian Transport Minister, Mr. Ahmad, and his wife, Swiss wife, Ursula. INS Taragir, a frigate of ours, commanded by Group Captain Gopalachari, and INS Betwa, another freighter commanded by Group Captain Gokhale, made the rebel to surrender in the mid-sea. It was a very tactfully carried out negotiation by Gopalachari, made this leader of this rebel group to surrender in the mid-sea. The Marcos of ours, the most lethal force, they were brought by INS Deepak. They escorted this freighter and this surrendered mercenaries back to Mali. There was another aircraft ship called INS Tir. It patrolled the island around. INS Deepak, a fleet tanker. It provided the logical support to the INS Godavari and INS Betwa and INS Tir. In the vast deep blue, I must say that the Indian Navy stood strong. their actions actually drew the final curtain on our Cactus. They did well, really well. Yes, sir.
In your book, you also mention, and we must give credit to some unsung heroes who were also part of the operation but did not get any mention. Specifically, 60 parafield ambulance, uh, the the uh, the paramedics, the medical people, the 411 sappers who were part of the para brigade, then the para signals, and and a whole lot of others who took part but were never even mentioned anywhere. And even seven para was not never mentioned to the way that our participation deserved the mention. Could you just speak about where you feel aggrieved of this?
True. See, it is true that their contributions are generally overlooked as compared to the direct combat armed units. The subunits are naturally, they're always sort of know that they're overlooked. And the military operations are impossible without the specialized skill provided by the combat support and the combat support service support. 411 sappers carried out the role assigned to them, perhaps more than what is required. They were right in front with 6 para group. They seized those boats and then ferried Major Dillon's group to Maldives and from Hulule to and fro. They kept the Hulule airfield operational on 3rd and 4th November. There were a lot of blind grenades thrown around that they cleared that. They kept the jetties operational, got the water sort of the desalination plant working again. They established a prisoner of war camp in Omadu Island. And I'm talking about 411 sappers. They trained the NSS persons in mine detection and bomb disposal, etc. A great job done by them. Now coming to 6 para field ambulance company. They set up an ADS at Mali. And their surgical team headed by Major A.K. Sharma, Major Dage, and a paratrooper Dilip. They worked around the clock for over 48 hours without an anesthetic to save the lives for many wounded. Kept operating and kept operating. They saved the life of many. They're the signalers of 15 Para Brigade Signal Company. Why we don't talk about them? They ensured that no one in the list was out of communication. Very important role played by them. And finally, I want to say that there was another unsung hero of Operation Cactus was Brigade Major or Major Bhatia, Vinod Bhatia. From 1000 hours on 3rd November, when he received many unclear information and unfeasible order from the DDGOM and the Vice Chief of Army Staff, till 12th November, when he flew out of Maldives with the brigade tack at quarter, it was the moment filled with the high stakes of professional situation. And for Vinod, Major Vinod then is now retired Lieutenant General, it was the catch-22 situation for Major Vinod. He ensured that effective coordination between the brigade and various units and then the army headquarters throughout the operation. He is nowhere to be seen in the list of performers. And role played by the supporting units and that of 7 Para in Operation Cactus stood underplayed in all media projections and in the records and the literary works by various scholars. Reason best known to them. Yes, they deserve it. 6 Para and 17 Para field is always, their name is taken. They deserve it. But it is just unjust to see the role played by the subunits, 3 Para, 411 sappers, and 7 Para. We are just ignored. They are not listed in the list of performers anywhere. It's just unfortunate moment. It happens sometimes. Yes.
Perhaps you mentioned in your book that the Operation Cactus was India's most successful tri-services military intervention. For our international audience, can you explain what were the key factors from all the three services that came together to make this incredible, complex, long range operation such a resounding success?
If you ask me about the key factors of success, I must say that the first comes that remarkable political-military symbiosis. Remarkable. Is an amazing operational togetherness of the three services of all. The daredevil performance of Group Captain Bavoor and then Wing Commander Amardeep Gill, the swift action by Group Captain Captain Gopalachari and then Captain Gokhale of INS Taragiri and INS Betwa, the daring decision made by Brigadier Bulsara, the death-defying actions of men in maroon berets, it's just amazing it was. So these are the key factors which really gave Operation Success the required success.
So now, as we conclude, this is the last question that I'm going to ask you. Operation Cactus was an awakening that led to new doctrines. How did this operation's success cement India's role as a net security provider in the region and earn praise from world leaders like President Ronald Reagan of the United States and Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher of the United Kingdom, who said, "Thank God for India, President Gayoom's government has been saved."
When Operation Cactus showed India's willingness to intervene to protect the democratic governments and its strategic reach, it did set a precedent for the future operations. Operation Cactus did that. At the same time, it also revealed that the Indian military was caught unaware on 3rd November 1988. It was primarily due to the lack of specific intelligence. Jana V.N. Sharma wrote in his article, the operation succeeded despite no force or procedures existing for rapid deployment, no maps, no actionable intelligence. And on dark moonlight, just luck favored us and also the bold plan of Operation Cactus. So he's talking about the luck favoring. We in Parachute Regiment, I'm sorry, we don't believe in luck, we believe in our performance. I'm sorry. Then Jana V.P. Malik wrote in his book, the state of unpreparedness and the imperfections during the preparation, planning, and the execution stage during Operation Cactus, which was studied in depth, and a new concept and reformed procedure were drawn without losing much time. It took 46 hours of independence to do such things. I'm sorry. But when it is the fact that Operation Cactus woke up the Indian military from its deep slumber. Immediately after Operation Cactus, specific units were designated as QRF, and 7 Para was the first unit to have been designated as a QRF. It is immediately after Operation Cactus. We got better weapons, better clothing equipments, communication system, and more tri-services training came into practice. It is all immediately after Operation Cactus. Subsequently, after 1999, that Kargil operation and then 2001 Parliament attack, there was a push towards modernization and enhanced so-called Atmanirbharta. As I said that, an integrated command setup was formed in 2001 for the strategically important Andaman and Nicobar Island. The Indian military deployed a cold start doctrine. I'm talking about immediately after the operation, the subsequent period. We developed a cold start doctrine aimed to enable rapid, limited offensive operation in response to the threats from Pakistan without crossing the nuclear threshold. For effective tri-services functioning, what we have today, we got a joint doctrine for 3 services. We got a chief of defense staff. We got a department of military affairs. For the Indian Army, we got BrahMos, the Russian supersonic cruise missile, Dhanush, the 151 gun system for our artillery, Akash, the air missile system, Arjun, the main battle tank. That is for the army. We saw the subsequent developments. When we realized that, we were sleeping for 46 hours. Then subsequently, the Indian Navy, we had INS Vikramaditya in 2013, unarmed aerial vehicles and enhanced data communication satellite. New INS Vikrant was built, indigenously built in 2022. We had INS Nilgiri, INS Turat, INS Udaygiri, INS Himagiri. These are all the indigenously built frigates. We had Swiss submarines indigenously made, like INS Calvary, Canadian, etc. We had indigenously built a diving support vessel, INS Nistar, in 2020-25. So Indian Navy kept increasing its efficiency. Subsequent period after Operation Cactus, the IAF, they inducted the mid-air refueling aircraft to support the combat jets and AWACS. We got Sukhoi, we got Mirage, we got Jagat, light combat aircraft Tejas, for example. We established the Defense Communication Network, that's called a DCM. But when all these advancements are not because of Operation Cactus only, the political military dispensation realized the need of the other. So that's what all this happened. And today we are ready to face a 2.5 front war. We have realized that and we are ready for it. We conduct more often than before joint tri-service exercises within our country and then with the UK, USA, France, Germany, Australia, you talk about anyone. The Indian military today is ranked among the world's most capable militaries, renowned for its extensive combat experiences and the ethical conduct. Operation Cactus Lily, Meghdoot, surgical strikes, Balakot strikes, it's all proved it all. Our ethical conduct. Nation is no longer a non-aligned in this historical sense. We are aligned. We are aligned with peace. So that's what today's situation. The 3 services of a nation, Pawan, I must say that they are not 3 different forces. We are just one. And for us, the nation comes first. So that's the fact. Once again, Pawan, it's a real honor to be interviewed by you. So I could sort of, voice my views on the Operation Cactus. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Sir, I'd like to conclude, your insights have been very valuable. You've been able to truly bring to life the immense pressure and professionalism of the forces that were involved in Operation Cactus. It's clear that the mission success hing not just on the planning portion, which has been under scrutiny, but on the leadership and split-second decisions you and your colleagues made on the ground. My deepest thanks to you, sir, for sharing your invaluable experiences and for meticulously documenting them in this book. To our listeners, if our conversation today on the strategy, leadership, and high-stakes operations, if it has captivated you, I urge you to read the full story in the book Operation Cactus Recalled, which Colonel Thomas has written. And also, if you've liked this podcast, I'd like you to sort of like it and share it and subscribe to it. I'm Pawanjit Ahluwalia on behalf of NISSMAT, saying thank you to all our listeners for listening in.
Thank you, Pawan.
And to you, Colonel Thomas, sir, thank you for writing the book.
Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.
Thank you.